Today is Thursday, November 21st. We'll tell you about the latest drama over the ethics report for Trump's attorney general pick, more specific plans from Elon Musk for thousands of cuts across the federal government, and a new controversial bathroom policy at the U.S. Capitol before the first transgender member of Congress starts in January. Also, what to know about one of the strongest storms on record for the Pacific Northwest. It's already turned deadly, and it's not over yet. Plus, a few things to keep in mind before buying toys online this holiday season. If Reddit or Venmo weren't working for you yesterday, you're not alone. And why a store-bought banana sold for over $6 million. Those stories and even more news to know next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. A so-called bomb cyclone that slammed the Pacific Northwest became one of the strongest storms on record for the region. The rapidly intensifying storm brought hurricane-force winds and heavy rains, leaving hundreds of thousands without power and closing schools. Washington was hit especially hard. In the Seattle area, falling trees killed 2 women and left roads littered with debris. Now, the biggest concern has transitioned to what's called an atmospheric river. Essentially, lots of rain and wet, heavy mountain snow are expected through Friday night, with the worst impacts in Northern California and Southwest Oregon. Some areas can expect up to 16 inches of rain, and there are concerns about flash floods and landslides possible. The U.S. Embassy in Ukraine shut down yesterday as the country braced for possible retaliation from Russia. The embassy warned there's specific information that Russia would launch a significant air attack on Ukraine soon. Remember, this comes after Ukraine's military launched American-made long-range missiles into Russia this week for the first time. President Biden had changed policy and given the okay just days earlier. Separately, in another major policy shift, the Biden administration has approved giving Ukraine anti-personnel mines for the first time. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says this policy change is in response to Russia's changing tactics. Humanitarian groups have criticized the use of these mines because they can continue to be a threat to civilians years after a war ends. Russia, though, has used these types of mines since the early days of the war, and American officials say the U.S. will give Ukraine a type with an internal mechanism to shorten their lifespan. The findings of the Matt Gaetz investigation are going to stay private, at least for now. Lawmakers on the Ethics Committee voted on whether to release their report to the public about allegations of sexual misconduct, illegal drug use, and more. Reports say all 5 Democrats on the committee voted yes, that it should become public, but all 5 Republicans voted against releasing it. So the panel will come back together in a couple of weeks to bring it up again. Democrats also introduced resolutions in an effort to force the committee to release the report. The report is expected to be damaging. Remember, we told you 2 women say they told the committee and federal investigators that Gaetz paid them for sex, and one of them says she saw him having sex with a teenager. Also this week, news outlets got a hold of a list of Venmo and PayPal transactions showing Gaetz paid the women who testified more than $10,000. Gaetz still says he did nothing wrong, and the Trump transition team blames the Justice Department for leaking information about those transactions, saying they're not real anyway. Trump's spokesperson called it the, quote, sort of politicized DOJ weaponization that Matt Gaetz will end. As we've mentioned before, the Justice Department did do its own investigation into whether Gaetz was guilty of sex trafficking a minor, and it ended last year without criminal charges. Meanwhile, Gaetz is hoping to win senators over whether more information gets released or not. He and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance were on Capitol Hill yesterday, hoping to salvage Senate votes for his Attorney General nomination, even in the face of controversy, by laying out their vision for the Justice Department under Trump. Some of the Republicans who met with them say they promised to be fair and to consider Gaetz without prejudice. So, to be continued. President-elect Trump still has a few major cabinet nominations left to reveal. His latest announcement this week, Matthew Whitaker as U.S. ambassador to NATO. Whitaker was a prosecutor who joined the Justice Department in the first Trump administration. He does not have a lot of experience in foreign policy, but if he's confirmed, Whitaker is expected to play a key role convincing NATO members to meet their spending targets. By the way, a couple of the president-elect's other picks are already writing up plans to reform the government. Tech billionaires Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy wrote an opinion piece for the Wall Street Journal. They outlined their vision for the new Department of Government Efficiency, aka DOGE. As co-leaders of DOGE, Musk and Ramaswamy mentioned large-scale firings in government. the end of remote work, relocating federal agencies out of Washington, D.C., and more. They say the federal workforce won't have to be as big once Trump gets rid of thousands of regulations. But the president of a federal workers union criticized them, saying they don't know what they're doing. And others have questioned potential conflicts of interest, since Musk is a major federal government contractor whose companies could benefit from these types of cuts. To be clear, Musk and Ramaswamy are basically working as advisors, and DOGE won't be an official department unless Congress passes a law creating it. House Speaker Mike Johnson announced a new bathroom policy for the U.S. Capitol. It comes just before Representative-elect Sarah McBride of Delaware will become the first transgender member of Congress in January. Johnson said all single-sex bathroom facilities in the Capitol and House office buildings are reserved for people of that biological sex, saying, quote, "Women deserve women's-only spaces." Johnson noted each House member's office does have a private restroom, and there are unisex restrooms available throughout the building as well. The statement comes after another Republican lawmaker, Representative Nancy Mace from South Carolina, pushed for this policy. While some Democrats have called the ban cruel, unnecessary, and unenforceable, McBride's response is that it's simply a distraction. In a statement, she said she's, quote, "not here to fight about bathrooms. I'm here to fight for Delawareans and to bring down costs facing families." McBride added that she'll follow the rules, even if she disagrees with them. Still coming up, a bomb plot stopped by the FBI. What to look out for when buying toys online, the biggest winners at last night's CMAs, and why a banana sold for over $6 million. But first, thanks to our sponsor. As busy parents, I'm guessing you do not want to have one more thing you have to keep track of, but you do want your kids to have everything they need to thrive, which is why I love Hiya's best-selling children's vitamins. They come straight to your door each month, so you don't have to think twice about it. But even more than that, I chose Hiya because they have zero sugar and zero gummy junk and are instead a pediatrician-approved chewable vitamin that my little boy seriously looks forward to having every morning. I also love that you get this great convenient bottle with your first order, and then they just send you eco-friendly refills every month, so it's easy and convenient. You even get stickers that your kids can decorate the bottle with. My kiddo enjoyed putting his name on it. He actually got to do the vitamins bottle and the probiotics bottle since we are big fans of both, and he takes both each morning. So we've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hiyahealth.com/newsworthy. The deal is not available on their regular website, so go to hiyahealth.com/newsworthy and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. Now back to the news. Alec Baldwin's new movie, Rust, finally premiered, and it comes 3 years after cinematographer Helena Hutchins was accidentally shot on set. The world premiere at a film festival in Poland began with a dedication to Hutchins and a moment of silence, and it received applause at the end. Alec Baldwin is the star actor and co-producer of the movie who was holding the gun on set when it went off, killing Hutchins and injuring the director. Criminal charges against Baldwin were eventually thrown out after a judge found prosecutors withheld evidence. The film's armorer, who's responsible for the prop weapons on movie sets, received 18 months in jail for involuntary manslaughter. As for deciding to finish the movie, Hutchins' husband gave the film his blessing and, as part of a settlement of a lawsuit, even served as an executive producer. Many of her friends and family also encouraged filming to continue, though Hutchins' mother is suing Baldwin. Baldwin himself did not attend the premiere. The FBI arrested a Florida man for allegedly plotting to bomb the New York Stock Exchange. His apparent motivation, or at least part of it, to reset or reboot the U.S. government. The FBI investigation began back in February based on a tip that he was storing bomb-making plans. He eventually met with undercover FBI agents and detailed his plot. He also told agents he considered joining ISIS and tried to join a domestic extremist militia group. The suspect has been assigned a public defender, but so far, no comment. A few popular websites had hours-long outages yesterday. One was Reddit. It crashed in the afternoon, frustrating tens of thousands of users who took to other platforms to report the problems and complain. Later in the day, Reddit's official X account posted a meme saying, "There was a bug in a recent update, but it's now fixed." Payment platform Venmo also experienced outages during the day yesterday, though Venmo has not said what caused it. And finally, Blue Sky, the X-competitor, also had some problems. Blue Sky has increased its users by around 500% since the election, Site administrators say an internal server error was to blame, though they did not elaborate. At this point, there's no indication those 3 outages were connected. Chris Stapleton was a big winner at last night's CMA Awards. Stapleton won Male Vocalist of the Year, and his hit White Horse won both Song and Single of the Year. But the nominee leader, Morgan Wallen, walked away with just one win, though it's perhaps the biggest one, Entertainer of the Year. Co-host Lainey Wilson won 2 awards for Female Vocalist of the Year and Music Video, and Old Dominion set a record for winning Vocal Group of the Year for the 7th straight time. A banana duct taped to a wall was just auctioned off, and someone paid, wait for it, $6.2 million. The banana is technically a piece of conceptual art titled Comedian, which the artist said is a satiric commentary on the out-of-control art market. And get this, the art uses just a regular banana. So yeah, it has to be replaced, the duct tape too. In fact, a Sotheby's employee stopped by a Manhattan fruit stand earlier in the day to buy the banana included in yesterday's auction and spent about 35 cents. So what was really sold for millions was a certificate of authenticity, along with instructions for replacing the banana, which the new owner says he plans to eat. A crypto entrepreneur beat out 6 other bidders. Well, that's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Thing to Know Thursday. But first, a quick break for our sponsor. It's that time of year. I've officially gotten serious with the lists on my Notes app for what to get my loved ones for the holidays. I love finding that perfect gift for the most important people in my life, and at least one of those things this year is going to come from the Skims holiday shop, the Cozy Robe. You can actually get it for everyone in the family, and I know how great it is already because I have one myself, and I adore this robe from Skims. As the weather turns cooler, I'm so glad to be able to reach for my Skims Cozy Robe when I get out of the shower. It is super soft, warm, and comfortable. It's pieces like this that really make the holidays and this time of year feel extra special. And that's just one of many things I'm loving right now from the Skims holiday shop. Definitely go check it out for both yourself and your friends and family. Shop Skims holiday shop at skims.com. Available in styles for women, men, kids, and even pets. If you haven't yet, be sure to let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show, The Newsworthy, in the drop-down menu that follows. Now back to Thing to Know Thursday. So it is holiday shopping season, but before you click buy on any cute, cheap toy you find online, a new report wants to remind you to double-check that it's safe. The annual Trouble in Toyland report came out from the U.S. Public Interest Research Group this week. It says many toys sold direct to consumers online from overseas manufacturers may not adhere to some of the safety standards required in the U.S. One thing to watch for, if a product takes weeks to ship to you, it might be coming from overseas and bypassing those inspections at the border. Another red flag, when the price of a toy just seems too good to be true. The report says look out for any toys sold through sites like eBay that were manufactured before 2008. While vintage toys might spark memories, 2008 is when the most recent round of safety laws for toys went into effect. And be aware of any product alerts and recalls. You can check cpsc.gov/recalls for a searchable list. The good news, though, most traditional toys have become safer overall as more manufacturers and U.S. sellers comply with tougher safety laws. Well, thank you so much for listening today and for making us part of your daily routine. We'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.